Hey y'all, welcome to the country where it's just another day in paradise. Let's see what's going on. Hey y'all, welcome to my kitchen. I got my canner going right now, so I'm going to have to be watching that a little bit. But tonight I'm going to prepare a little prime rib roast. Now I found this in the freezer and I must have bought it back in December. Things get lost in my freezer, and I took it out and I kind of halfway thawed it and cut it in half because I had bought this for a big group of people coming over and it didn't happen. So we did something else. So I'm going to show you what you would do to cook this little prime rib roast. It's pretty cheap. It's like 25 bucks. So you pay that much for just a chuck roast today during this pandemic with the meatpacking plants being down. So I cut it in half and thawed it out. This would probably feed 3, maybe 4 people. It's quite a bit of meat there, so it's going to be a couple of meals for us. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use kosher salt. And I like this Adams Reserve rib, roast, and steak rub. It's got spices in it, garlic. It does have some salt, smoked salt. I do add just a little bit of kosher salt to the outside. Now, some might say, well, that's going to dry your roast out. No. If you put the kosher salt on, the juices will come to the surface, but then they want to equalize in the meat, and they will equalize throughout the meat, and they'll carry the seasoning with it. So, you do that, you let it set about, 30 minutes, and it works, and it works great. I would have my oven set to 450. But right now, I'm going to take my garlic salt, and I'm just going to sprinkle it over my roast here. Come down a little bit so you can see what I'm doing here. This makes, for holiday time, special occasions, if you have someone who really likes prime rib, for the price of one meal at a steakhouse with prime rib, you can buy a roast for 6 to 8 people. Alright, and I'm going to use this Adams Syrian crust rub. It's got a lot of garlic, a lot of black pepper. Now, you could just use salt and pepper and, garlic powder, whatever you want to put on it, but you want to season it. And you can rub it in. So I can tell this is such a tender piece of meat already. I'm going to kind of turn it so that I get all the sides. There's a bone. This is a bone-in ribeye roast. That's what you would look for. Normally at holiday time is when they'll have a lot of these. So I'm going to let this set for about 30 minutes, and then I'm going to put it into a 450-degree oven for 30 minutes. Then I'm going to turn it down to 350, and I'm going to cook it 15 minutes for every pound of meat. So this one is 2 3/4 pound. So I'm going to cook it about another 40 minutes after that. I'm going to check the temperature. And, you want it between 135 to 40. The internal temperature of your meat here. So we'll be back to show you what we're going to do next. Alright, so I've got my oven heated to 450. I've got my seasoned roast, and I put it in a pan that's just a little bit larger than the roast. You don't want a huge pan because, any juices that collect, you can, baste it if you want to while it's cooking, but I'm just going to stick it in there and set my timer for 30 minutes. And then I'll turn it down to 350 and cook it about another 40 minutes until it registers between 135 and 140 on its internal temperature. Alright, so our temperature is at 130, so I've taken my little prime rib roast out, and it's going to sit for 15 minutes before I carve it. And I'm just going to try to slice it right down the middle. But first, I'll have to take off that nice rib bone, and that's a really good piece of meat right there too. So I'm just going to stand this up and set my timer for 15 minutes, and then we'll slice it and see what it looks like. All right, so my roast has been sitting for about 15 minutes, and what I'm going to do first is I'm going to take off the rib. So I'm going to stand it up, and I'm going to come down just like this. And cut that rib off, and that will be delicious there. Now, instead of cutting it down the middle, which I normally would slice it that way, I'm just going to cut this in half, or cut it maybe, yeah, cut it in half, and I think that would just work better than trying to slice it down the middle. So let's see what this looks like on the inside here. Let's see, I'm going to give Stephen a little bit bigger piece here. So cut it right down the middle. And you can see the inside there. That's probably more of a medium. He prefers his medium rare, but it does have a little oozing of the blood there. So this is going to be yummy and delicious. Didn't have baked potato. I had some leftover okra. So that's what we're going to have, and we'll fight over the rib because beef right now is really, really high. The price is really high right now. I'm glad I found that in the freezer. It's been in there since December, and I shrink wrap things so it keeps them fresher. So if you this holidays season, November, December, if they do have some of these prime rib roasts, try you one and roast it, and it's really good, just like in a restaurant. So I hope y'all have a great rest of your week. Bye, y'all.